What is going on? What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another Tottenham update, and it is a big one for you guys today. As you can see on the thumbnail, as you can see in the title of this video, things with Eberechi Eze are heating up, and I'm very excited about it. After a signing that we got through the door yesterday, we got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano for the starlet, the Japanese starlet. And we've got a few bits and pieces to talk about today. If you are new around here, smash that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's go and hear from the big Caddy Comps, who are our sponsor for the Tottenham update today. Caddy Comps is the UK's biggest golf website. Every night you can win and you can get the latest golf equipment for as little as 79 pence, people. They have over 100 competitions per week and already given away over £8 million worth of prizes. So for all you avid golf lovers, get involved in Caddy Comps, people.
Yeah, come on. It's a very cheap price for unbelievable equipment for as little as 79p. Where else are you going to get that kind of unbelievable price for that kind of equipment?
When the weather like it is in England right now, no better time to get on that golf course, and no better place to get your equipment from than Caddy Comps. Link is in the description below if you want to get involved.
Yeah, and it's basically a raffle kind of website where you enter for a little fee and you put yourself in the hat to win one of these unbelievable golf sets for a really, really small price. So if you're there and you're looking to play golf this summer, it's probably worth doing.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into the Tottenham update then. We're going to start off with a report from Sam Tabiteo, Brentford, obviously ITK. Now he's working at the Standard. And he says that Brentford captain Christian Norgaard is wanted by both Arsenal and Tottenham as they both look for midfield reinforcements this summer. We know a very experienced player, knows Frank very well, obviously was his captain at Brentford. He also played for Frank at the Danish youth level as well. So he's known him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, going all the way back to then. Arsenal, obviously in the market for a midfielder with Jorginho going out the door, Thomas Partey going out the door. Would surprise me if they went for Norgaard, to be fair.
Well, if they're looking for two, maybe they go for like a...
They went for Jorginho, who was a fairly older player as well.
Yeah, so I guess if they're obviously getting Zubimendi and you get like Norgaard as like third choice with Rice there as well, I guess you could maybe kind of make sense of it, but I doubt they'll probably go for him. I actually think Norgaard's a good player. I think he's done really well for Brentford. He's a massive part of how they try to play. Really, what's it called, disciplined. He's very good at organising the team. He's actually not bad on the ball as well. He's not like elite, but he's like pretty decent. Makes a lot of tackles, a lot of interceptions. He's the muscle in that midfield, I think, Christian Norgaard for Brentford. At 31, he definitely has experience, but I don't know if it's... I mean, he's got experience playing at different levels, but it's not experience playing at, Champions League or the highest level. Not to say he couldn't play at that level potentially, and maybe with better players around him, it might elevate his game. But we need to bring someone in who's going to elevate other players. I don't know if Norgaard's that kind of player. I like him.
He's got a fair few caps for Denmark, hasn't he?
He does, and he actually
30 caps.
Yeah, he does all right in the international tournaments as well. I've seen him. He doesn't look out of place. Put him that way, but we need a level raiser. If we're going to lose Basuma and maybe even Bentancur, I mean, why would we replace him with Norgaard? It doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah.
We might as well try and convince them to stay. I guess, look, if they're intent on leaving and we're looking to replace them, I mean, replace him with Norgaard.
Would you see it, liken it to the signings of, when we brought in Ivan Perisic for Conte, we brought in Scott Parker as like a 30-year-old, didn't we? From West Ham. So it could be like signings of those ilk, and both those signings were fairly decent.
They were good signings, but I would say they were different. I think Perisic was just playing for Inter Milan, and I think they just won the league, and he was playing for the I think he was brilliant at wing back for Inter Milan under Conte.
Yeah,
and they won they won the league. He was one of the best wing backs in Europe at the time. Sorry, I know it didn't go well for him at Tottenham, it didn't go as well as it could have, but he definitely was coming to raise the level. Same with Parker. I think he just got Player of the Year in the Premier League when we signed him. This isn't a guy.
What Premier League Player of the Year?
He did, yeah, in 2011. When even though West Ham got relegated, and he got Player of the Year. So he was obviously a phenomenal signing for us, and he was obviously England international. He was a really good player at the time. I'm not saying Norgaard's not, but I think it's a different kind of level. Like,
but the thing
Norgaard
is
is good, but maybe it's because he's trusted by Frank. Maybe that obviously means Frank maybe backs him to up his game at Tottenham and raise level. But look, for me, I wouldn't mind him as like
squad option.
Yeah, squad option if we're maybe selling both Basuma and Bentancur, but if only one of them are leaving, I don't know if Norgaard's the answer.
I do agree with you, very much so. But the one that knows him the best is going to be Thomas Frank, isn't it? And if he wants him desperately at Tottenham, then I'll back that decision, because he's the one that has seen him week in, week out in training for years, and he'll know exactly what level he can get to, and he'll know exactly what he's about and exactly what he needs from him. So
yeah, I hear that. That's fair, but he's coming to Tottenham. The main reason he's making this step is because he's got more money at his disposal, and he doesn't have to use a lot of the limited players he had at Brentford. I don't know if Norgaard falls into that category, but I don't know if as well I don't know if you can say he's like the Mbeumo types where he's ready for the step up. I think Norgaard, maybe he could go to a better club. I don't know if he's a player who's really right for the top 6.
Yeah, I mean, look, we'll wait and see how this one progresses. But if this report is true, and he's a reliable journalist, isn't he? And he's saying Arsenal and Tottenham are both looking at him.
Yeah. Maybe there is some truth to it. He's definitely. Look, I haven't heard of this journalist up until recently when he was been talking about the Frank deal to Tottenham, and now he's clearly doing very well and he's got a job at the Standard. So maybe he's got good sources going in the game, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about Kyle Walker-Peters caught offside, saying that Fulham, West Ham and Palace are all closely monitoring Kyle Walker-Peters ahead of a potential move. However, the most serious effort to sign him is expected to come from Tottenham. The player's desire to stay in the Premier League and his loyalty to the club are among the factors that paved the way for this transfer. Also, signing him would boost Tottenham's homegrown quota as well. Signing a player of his quality and experience on a free transfer represents a huge bargain.
I mean, it's free. I don't know about a huge bargain.
Well, if it's free, it is a bargain, I guess.
I guess, unless he has a negative effect on the team, which you can't rule out at this point. I think for Tottenham, obviously, we probably would, in a weird way, we probably need him more than the other teams, even though we want him as 4th choice. But because of our situation, like, does he go into West Ham and Fulham as starters? Although, interestingly enough, at Fulham, they've just sold Tete, so there is a spot open on that right back. I don't know if Kyle Walker-Peters would fill it, or they'd go for a different player. But
I'm surprised they sold Tete as well.
Yeah, I like Tete. I think he's a good player. So for me, yeah, with Walker-Peters, a former Tottenham player, he's got his best mate Solanke in the front line. He'll know the place well. I think it's a deal that makes sense for Tottenham. Now, does it make sense for Kyle? That's a different question. He might look at the situation and think, yes, I'm going to be 4th choice, but there will be game time for me and I will get a platform to play at a really high level and maybe even push myself into the first team if I really smash it and prove how good I believe I can be. Maybe that's a place. But then on the other side, you might feel if I might not be getting the game time and I might not be able to have that ability to show what I can do. And if that's going to be the case, I'll rather go somewhere where I'm more certain to play. So if he wants certainty of game time, I don't think Tottenham's a place. But maybe, given that he's 28, he's been at Southampton, where he's played a hell of a lot over the last few years, but he's been relegated up and down, and maybe he doesn't feel the need to have to be starting week in, week out in the Premier League. Maybe he'll be open
28,
to it.
you should be starting week in, week out. Like for what you want out of your career, surely 28 is the age to carry on that and to go to a team where you can cement your kind of, he's going to have some sort of legacy in the game. So when he wants to look back on it at 28 years of age, he doesn't want to say like he's winding down already.
It's not about winding down, but but does he have to, like, will trying to get game time at Spurs mean more to him than having game time at Fulham, where maybe he's not even guaranteed there anyway. You know what I mean? So maybe that would mean more to him.
Yeah, it depends. Like you say, Tete's leaving, so there is a spot opened up for him there. So they do have Castagna as well, don't they, Fulham? So he'll be fighting with him. And yeah, it's probably a much easier bout to fight with Castagna than it is with Pedro.
Yeah,
Porro.
but we're also in full competitions.
That's also true. So look, it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out as well as the Dennis Sirkin deal. Which way are Spurs going to go with it? I think Spurs are probably going to lead more to the Kyle Walker-Peters. I think it just makes more sense in terms of in 2-3 years' time when the club train numbers are looking a lot better, then Kyle Walker-Peters probably contract will be up with Spurs, or you can just sell him for a modest fee to someone else and move him on. So, yeah, he just fills a void in the squad that we need very much so in the next couple of years. And I think that's about that, really. Now, let's get on to the big story of the day. We touched on it a bit last night, and it's about the main man, which is Eberechi Eze. David Heitner says that Tottenham are weighing up a move for Eberechi Eze and believe he would be open to joining them. They have discussed whether to make a statement signing for the new manager, Thomas Frank. John Cross says that they believe they can finally land Eberechi Eze this summer, as they believe he is also keen on the move. San Tabateu says Tottenham are turning their attentions to Eberechi Eze. Tottenham have lined up a £68 million move as a statement signing to kickstart the Thomas Frank era. 68 million would trigger his release clause. And Florian Plettenberg says that Tottenham Hotspur are closely monitoring Eberechi Eze now and have already gathered all the relevant information. However, he is just one of several players that they are considering for his position. At this stage, they have not activated his release clause, and they are also not close to doing so. Still, Eze does remain one to watch for Spurs. So, I mean, not much in that, to be honest.
Kind of sounds like we're stalking him,
yeah.
monitoring, looking at.
I know. It's like not much in it in terms of progressing the deal along, but there are a lot of journalists talking about this now. For me, there's no smoke without fire. I think it's clear to see that we've been interested in Eze for some time, and I feel like with the news that Paul O'Keefe gave us a couple of days, 3-4 days ago, in terms of Palace willing to take that instalments now instead of 60 million up front, I actually think this one has a lot of legs, and I think this could get done.
Yeah, I think so. For me, when you see a lot of journalists say the very similar things all at the same time, for me, that tells me that they've been briefed by a source or someone is briefing some sort of information. They're getting similar information from one place, which tells me something behind the scenes is going on, something behind the scenes is brewing. I know all the reports are saying, oh, it's just monitoring and interest and all this kind of stuff, but when it's when everyone's coming up with the same name, that tells me there's work happening behind the scenes to get this deal done and movement happening. I'm not saying this is done or we've agreed a deal, but clearly, when all the people are saying the same thing, for me that means something's happening. There's a lot. I agree with you. There's no smoke without fire, and I definitely think that is something to be looked at. And I love Eze. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I think he's a phenomenal talent, one of the stars of the Premier League, and he's going to fit in like a glove. The only question mark, we've been having these debates on the WhatsApp about, is he a player we really need? For me, he's just a player that ups the quality of the squad. I'm never going to complain about that. And these are the kind of signings we need to be making to start closing the gap on the top teams. But I also understand that some people feel like, is a right winger more a necessity than a left winger? Because right now we have Johnson who can play on the right. Odebear plays there, but he's more accustomed to the left. Whereas on the left, we've just signed Tell. Son is still here. So again, it depends kind of how Frank sees the squad. If he sees Decky more on the right, then you've got Johnson there, and then you've got players like Odebear who can play there. And then if Son's leaving, all of a sudden you're thinking, actually, we probably do need to prioritise a left winger because we've only already got Tell, and then Odebear can fill in there as well. So maybe
Odebear is a natural left winger.
He's a natural, but for under 21s, he plays on the right. And for Burnley, he played both sides. But he's definitely looked better on the left when he's played for Tottenham. But again, most of his time at Tottenham has been on the right as well. So I don't know about natural left winger, but I think that's probably his best position, if you know what I mean. Two different things. But
I mean, when we signed him, his position on pretty much every website, every scouting report said he's a left winger.
Yeah. Well, he's played a number of positions. He's played
a number of positions.
Burnley fans think his best position is in the 10.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
That's fair enough. But in terms of what he would probably consider himself as and what everyone says he is, everyone says left winger.
Yeah, but everyone seems to play him on the right.
Yeah.
At international level and at club level, his majority of performances have been on the right. We'll see what Frank thinks. We know Frank likes inverted wingers. That's what has been shown at Brentford. When Wish has played on the wing, it's been on the left. Sade plays on the left, and Mbeumo pretty much exclusively plays on the right-hand side. So he does we know that he definitely does like inverted wingers from his history. So that would suggest, he would like to play Odegaard on the left. But then what does that mean for Johnson? Would he want Johnson on the left as well? But Johnson's definitely predominantly been on the right. He's
Can't play everyone on the left.
He's played a few games on the left for us, but he's looked better on the right. Again, depends on what Frank wants. It all depends on how, in terms of his squad building. If he sees Decky as more of a right winger and he's got Johnson there, maybe he feels like he needs Eze to come in, or he needs a left winger if Son's going to leave. So it's a balancing act, because then if Decky is more on the right, and then you would want an Eze because he plays on the left and also can cover Maddison in the 10, and he's probably going to start a lot of games there as well. So you kind of do want Eze on that sense, but also understand we don't really have a guy on the right wing where you can say he's like a unbelievable option there, or like a real upgrade. And whereas on the left, and if Son stays, he is that kind of option. But
if Son doesn't stay,
on the left either. But then you could say Odegaard and Tell, but
they're not those options though, are they? Mm-hmm. They're like young players still coming through. Where at least if Son goes right, you'd probably say the right hand side is stronger than the left hand side.
I guess the worry is, which is my prediction, that we only are going to spend big on one forward player, or one player really, unless Romero also leaves. I don't know if we're going to, Eze, we're talking about 68 million. Is that going to be the only signing of that price this summer? Probably. Is it wise to use it on a left winger? I would say I would say yes. I can see the logic in it. Some people would say no, use it on a right winger.
But I would say if Son is going this summer, you're looking at the options that we have potentially on the right. I'm going to add Kulusevski into that. And you're looking at the options that we have on the left. The options on the right are stronger.
With Kulusevski's on the right, yeah.
So that means then it's right to do what we're doing. And as well, he can play in the middle.
Well, but if he doesn't say Kulusevski's on the right and Son does stay, then it's the opposite. That surely can't be the case. If we're going so hard on the left and not considering to bring in anyone on the right, surely we don't go into the season with Brennan and Odegaard. We have been considering players on the right.
Yeah, true. We've been considering Mbeumo, but I mean the one that we're actually going to go for is going to be on the left.
I guess someone's saying my mic's out. I guess the fear is, are we only going for Eze because we haven't been able to get our first choice options like in Mbeumo, Semenyo and Kudus? And if that's the case, is that the right approach, or is Eze always been high up on our list?
I think it's evident that Eze has always been high up on our list, and the reason why we're trying to get Mbeumo is because we thought there was an opportunity there with Frank coming to the club. Kudus, was it ever that serious? Are you ever going to get him out of a club like West Ham and pay the 85 million that they're going to hold us to? Probably not. And Semenyo, the price is just going to keep going up and up and up the more Bournemouth sell players. So I don't really think that's a viable option either. So you're looking at those options that we were looking at on the right-hand side, and I just don't think any of them have been that realistic, to be honest. So that leaves you with either... Look, what I personally want to see, I want to see us... If Son is to go, I want to see us get an Eze, but I also want to see us bring in someone on the right-hand side and maybe, I know it's probably unrealistic, but probably loan out a Wilson Odegaard. If we could do that, get Odegaard serious playing time at another club, Premier League club, ideally, bring in a Bakayoko and have Eze on the left-hand side and the middle, I think that would do the world of good for us.
If we're saying that, let's say, for example, we're saying Son and Richarlison are leaving, and we're saying we want Eze to replace Son.
Yeah. Do we want
to replace Richarlison? Would we want a striker to replace Richarlison, like a Callum Wendo or a Muniz? Or would we say, you know what, Tell and Johnson maybe can cover that backup striker role, and we go big on another right winger?
I think someone that's probably predominantly a right winger, but can also fill in the striking role as well. Maybe a versatile player. I'm not sure who that player is, top of my head, but probably a versatile option.
Well, can Johnson not be that versatile option, and then you just go for a
Yeah,
pure
he could
right
be.
winger?
He could be if that's what Frank sees him as. I don't know if Frank sees him as that or not. I mean, the way we've been talking is that he does, but we don't know actually what's going on in Frank's mind. Frank obviously tried to sign him at Brentford and had his own plans for him. We're going to have to see how that works out. But in my mind, it is going to be the right winger options of Brennan and Kulusevski. I think when you're looking at options that can play through the middle, I think he might favour Tell more in the central options than a Brennan Johnson. And Tell hasn't looked great for me in the number 9 so far, so I would like to see someone a bit more comfortable there.
Yeah, I think I would go for someone who's just... I think I'd probably go for someone who's a winger, pure winger, and then you got Tell and Johnson who could potentially fill in those roles next to Solanke. And even Decky could do that as well. Decky could also fill in that role, potentially. Maybe under Frank, he can get more out of those players playing in those roles than Ange did, because he's not constantly maybe play to their strengths more than Ange asking Tell to do things he's not comfortable with, or Decky or whoever. I think I would rather that than go big on just another striker where he's kind of has to wait for Solanke to drop out to get game time.
Unless you go 2 up top.
Or you could go 2 up top with a 3-5-2, and then you would need another striker, yeah.
All right. That is the Eze deal. I mean, regardless of all this kind of debate, whether we need a right wing, a left wing, or whatever, just bringing Eze to the club would give the place such a boost, such a lift, such excitement as well. So
yeah, whatever you want about, I agree, and I don't you can't complain about that kind of deal. You just can't. It's just
some people can.
I know some people can, but it's just a great player to bring into the club. I think he's phenomenal. I think he's got another level to go. I think if he comes to Tottenham, he could really explode. I mean, he's already done that at Palace, but he didn't have it. It was a weird season for him. Last season, he wasn't great up until late on, and then he kind of had an amazing end to the season. But I think we've seen throughout the last 2-3 years how amazing he is, and I think we'd be very lucky to have him.
Yeah, totally agree. So bring Eberechi Eze in, and I do have a feeling that this one will get done. I do have a feeling. But anyway, next up we're going to talk about an Argentinian wonder kid that Spurs are chasing called Ian Subiara. I think that's how you pronounce it. River Noccia says that Tottenham are understood to be considering a move for Argentina wonder kid Ian Subiara, an 18-year-old winger who has played 290 minutes, scored 1 goal in 12 appearances, and has a 23 million release clause. Chelsea have already withdrawn their interest due to the demands being made. And I can't really see Chelsea kind of balking at a figure that they want, and then Spurs going, you know what, we'll have some of that.
Yeah, look, I don't know anything about this guy. He's an 18-year-old from South America. He might be the next best thing. I've got no clue.
I heard he's the next Alejo Veliz.
Yeah, then don't go near him. That's the truth. But look, I would have said, do we need another young winger? But I would have said, do we need another young centre-back? And here we are signing Takai. So what do I know? I'm sure if this guy we believe is an ex-world star, we'll probably go for it. But whether there should be a priority or whether it's someone who's going to come straight into the first team, it's hard to believe that.
They should rename us the Tottenham Hot Creche.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's all we're doing right now, just building a creche.
So much for experience that we were going to add this summer.
If you ever mention experience, you get sacked. That's what happens at this football club. But yeah.
So far, we're talking about signing a 20-year-old Tell. We signed a 20-year-old from J-League, Takai, and maybe Carl Walker-Peters.
Yeah, unbelievable.
One unbelievable experience.
But Eberechi Eze, he's got good experience.
He does, yeah, Eze does.
We got one more news story to bring you today. Just before we get into that, just another mention and a big up to our sponsors, Caddy Comps, the UK's biggest golf competition website. Every night you can win all the latest equipment from as little as 79 pence. Look at all these competitions they got going on daily. You can get your clubs, your drivers, your putters, anything you want regarding golfing materials and equipment. So unbelievable weather in London right now. So this is the only place that you want to go and get your golfing equipment for very, very cheap as well.
But you got to be in it to win it. And to be in it, you only cost as little as 79p. to be in it to assist in what golf has to offer in terms of the equipment. Incredible equipment for such a low potential prize. Obviously, there's no guarantee to win it. It's a raffle, but you enter the raffle for a small price and you can get unbelievable prizes worth lots and lots of money.
Exactly. So link in the description below if you do want to get involved. This is just perfect for all you avid golf lovers as well. So big up to Caddy Comps. And the last story of the day, we're going to be talking about Damelola Ajayi. Cast your mind back to Elfsborg at home in the Europa League. He came on and he absolutely sent the place a potty at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What an unbelievable day that was. Mikey Moore getting his first goal for the club. Ajayi, Scarlett. It really was unbelievable. And the Footy Insider first broke the news saying that Tottenham starlet Ajayi is set to join or is in advanced talks to join Doncaster, League One side Doncaster Rovers on loan. And Ali Gold did confirm that as well, saying good season-long loan move coming in the next 24 hours for Damelola Ajayi. After his magic moment for Spurs, and it was one of the moments of the season that
especially the time when we were just losing game after game, and it was sweet relief. Even in that game, it was 0-0, wasn't it? And we were looking like, oh god, are we going to finish outside the top 8? It's going to be so embarrassing. And then Scarlett, Ajayi, and Mikey Moore stepped up, and that was an amazing evening. The 3 academy players, that 1-1, they'll live long in the memory. But I think it's a great loan deal. I'm really intrigued to see how he gets on. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him after that moment, which was a shame because having scored that goal, his confidence was probably really high. It would have been nice to see a few cameo appearances after that, but didn't happen. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how he does on loan in League One next season for Doncaster, who finished top of the league in League Two. So let's hope he gets a lot of game time and goes better than some of the other loan spells. But, we had some very good loan spells as well last season. So I'm very intrigued to see how Ajayi gets on.
Yeah, exactly. All these academy players going out on loan this season, I suspect that maybe Tyrese Hall might get a loan move as well. But a hard act to follow with all the Hotspur Way graduates going out on loan last year. They all absolutely smashed it. So let's see what the new crop have to offer out on loan next season. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below all the thoughts surrounding all the news stories we've brought to you today. And everyone smash that subscribe button as well. Before we move on to our next segment, we're going to give you a little plug for our t-shirts that we've got on sale at this moment in time. New designs have been going up over the past week or so, and new designs are on their way as well. This Van de Ven t-shirt, you guys have been absolutely loving it. This has been flying off the shelves, people. This one and the Thomas the Frank Engine one, which we'll show you in a second. But the link is in the description below to get to our shop. And every penny spent on t-shirts goes straight back into the channel. People.
Exactly. And it's WeAreTottenhamTV.shop. So go there and check out all the t-shirts and get one for yourself. And what's called every Tottenham fan will want one of these t-shirts, that's for sure. They're all great designs and they're fantastic. And for the new season coming up, you're going to want the new merch. Come on. And it really does help support the channel as well. So I'd really appreciate if you do want to help support the channel. It does help, but also they're great t-shirts.
I'll just put the link in the live chat for you guys if you do want to have a look. So there you have it.
And is there any more designs that you think we should be having? We're open to suggestions as well.
Yeah, let us know, people.
Let us know.
Desperate to see or have some sort of design, we'll get it mocked up for you guys. So
can I get 3XL in the shirts?
3XL. Can you get 3XL? It's a good question.
I think someone ordered a 4XL, didn't they? 2XL. Yeah, 3XL.
Yeah, you can go up to you can go up to 4XL.
4XL. There you go, Big Dave. 4XL. Someone said get a Winners 25 shirt. 100% we need to be getting a Winners 25 shirt. We'll be getting that.
That's the next one that's going to be going up on the store. Don't you worry about that one.
Jack Boy says getting a t-shirt with Ange looking down from above on all his good work.
Sim will never take that off.
Oh, that'll be my shirt. That'll be my shirt.
Oh, God. All right. So big up to everyone regarding that. Let's move on to our next segment, and we're going to be looking at our new signing, Japanese Japanese international Kota Takai. We got the here we go. We got the here we gold. All we're waiting for now is the statement from Tottenham Hotspur and to see him holding up that shirt. 20 years of age, brought in from Kawasaki Frontale in Japan, and he does look like a really interesting prospect. Front foot defender, aggressive defender, good in the air, good with the ball at his feet as well. I mean, when you read up about him and look into him, it's hard to find a flaw in his game.
And he's got a great name. Kota Takai, what a name. I do love that. Yeah, I mean, if you believe the online Twitter tacticos, he's the second coming of Virgil van Dijk. Yeah. So we'll have to cross our fingers and hope that's all to be true. But for sure, he seems to have unbelievable assets to his game. He seems to be very comfortable on the ball. I think everyone has been rushing to YouTube and Twitter to see a lot of the compilations and the clips of him. He seems unbelievably composed for a player of his age. He seems to be a player who doesn't seem fazed by attackers running at him or being involved in physical duels. And also, what I found interesting in a lot of the clips, because I think there's some things you can learn from clips. Obviously, you can't take broad kind of takeaways, but I think you can look at clips and notice things. And I definitely noticed he likes to, in a similar vein to Romero, he likes to get in front of the ball a lot. He likes to challenge in that front. He's not a Van de... I mean, he also seemed to have those Van de Ven qualities where he's sweeping up from passes in behind, but he definitely seems to be anticipating where the pass is going to go and try and get there ahead of the attacker. And he seems to be very aggressive, very front-footed on that front as well. And he seems to be extremely composed on the ball, seems to have good long-range passing on his left foot and his right foot. Apparently can play equally as well, left centre-back or right centre-back, which is interesting. Definitely has good long-range passing from the clips I've seen. Very composed passing as well. So he's definitely a talent. He's definitely a talent. And I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited. He's big. He's strong, good in the air. He scored from a few headers from corners as well. Obviously, the question marks will be, he's physical. He's got big physicality in the J League, but will that physicality stand out when he comes to Premier League? Obviously, those are things we won't know because he's quite physically dominant in the J League, it seems. And whether that will be the same thing in the Premier League, obviously, he's going to have to adjust to that. But in terms of what qualities he's got, what he's got at a young age as well, I can understand why Tottenham clearly wanted to jump the gun on this one and get him before, he really explodes or goes to like a team in Germany or whoever's he linked with, Germany or Italy, and then probably quadruples or 5 times his value.
I've been reading reports from Japanese people, and they're saying that he's the biggest prospect Japan have ever delivered, which is mad to think
bigger
about.
than Mitoma.
They're saying, well, I mean, Mitoma's an attacking player, so he's going to stand out a bit more. But they're saying they think this guy is going straight to the very, very top. A record fee that we've paid to the J League.
How much is that? 5 million is a record fee.
It's a record fee from the J League, which is mad to think about.
So what? Brighton paid less than 5 for Mitoma. Must have.
Well, did they bring him in straight from the J League?
I believe so.
You sure? I thought they brought him in from somewhere else.
Was it not the J League? I can't remember. I thought it was.
They brought him in from Union Saint-Gilles from Belgium.
So there's one more step.
He's only on loan there actually.
Yeah.
So they bought him from Kawasaki, same team.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it was the same team. Yeah, that's what I thought. So he paid less than 5.
I'm not sure how much. It doesn't say how much they signed him for.
But anyway. But that's 5 million being around. They get a 10%. They bought him for 2.5 million. Someone in the chat says.
I thought it was 5 million with a 10% on top of that as well.
You mean Mitoma's deal or this deal?
Oh, they're 2.5 million.
Yeah,
Mitoma for.
yeah.
Wow, that is a mad price for Mitoma.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5 million is obviously Kota Takai's price with a 10 million % sell-on fee as well. If and when we do end up selling him on. But yeah, he's got unbelievable attributes. He's doing unbelievably well for such a young player. Been a constant fixture in the Kawasaki team for the last couple of years. And I was actually watching individual highlights of him from a game in the Asian Champions League.
Semi-final against Al Nassr.
Exactly. That's exactly
Yeah, I was watching that.
I was watching the individual highlights, and he locked down Cristiano Ronaldo like he wasn't even there.
And to be fair, as I know Ronaldo's 40 and he's not what he used to be, but still, not many 20-year-olds can say that. You know, especially 20-year-olds who've been playing in the J League. So, look, I think there's something to be said about it. He didn't seem fazed by battling against Cristiano. This is a guy who's still doing it at the Nations League level. You know, he's still scoring goals, and I think he's one of the top goals in the Saudi Arabian League. Look, I know he's not the Cristiano Ronaldo of old, but still, he was playing at that level, and he's still something to be said about it. So, I think this guy there's a reason to be happy about it. I think there's a reason to be excited about it. I really hope he comes in and he gets the appropriate kind of patience from fans, and he's given time to bed in and show what he can do. Obviously, there are question marks about what his role will be in the team. Obviously, we've got 4 centre-backs on the books right now who you would say are probably all ahead of him in theory. I mean, Dragoshin might with his injury, but is this also maybe... If we're saying all 4 of these centre backs are staying, which you know they may or may not, is this a kind of indication of Frank maybe wanting to play a back 3?
Potentially, but the way I look at this deal is I actually think he's come in to replace Ben Davies. I think he's come in and he's going to be the understudy to Mickey van der Ven on the left hand side of the back 2, potentially a back 3 as well. He can get minutes on the right-hand side where needs be because that's predominantly his position, but he is just as comfortable from what I heard on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, but he is right-footed but can play with both. So I think he's going to replace Ben Davies, and when you're looking at him coming in for 5 million and potentially Ben Davies going out this summer, which we'll get probably less than that, but if you bring him for 5 million, get rid of Davis for like 3.5 million, I think that's some decent business there.
But that still leaves him as 5th choice.
I think he'll be 2nd choice on the left-hand side.
2nd choice on the left-hand side. Okay, so we're saying what, 3 right side?
I think Danso will be back up on the right-hand side, and that leaves Dragoshin. Look, Dragoshin needs to recover fully from his ACL. We don't know when we're going to see him back at his best. So I think there's a question mark around Dragoshin. If we do move to a back 3 at certain times, then that leaves a lot more opportunities to all of them.
One thing I've definitely been a tad when I'm looking at some of his clips is his pace. I'm just a little slow, but he's definitely
fast.
I think for me, he looks fast in the J League. And a lot of the time he's catching up to people, if you've noticed, and he does seem to catch them, right? But he's a lot of the time he's behind play, and he's kind of making last stitches, a bit like Van der Ven-esque. But what I've noticed is I think a lot of the times if that was a Premier League striker there who had a lot more pace, I don't think he's catching them.
Can't there be players with pace in the J League? I don't understand.
There can be players with pace in the J League, but compared to the Premier League, it's different kettle of fish. I think when from what I was looking at in his highlights, I think a lot of the times he caught players where I think in the Premier League he might not have. I think.
I don't know about that.
That's the sense I was getting.
There's players of higher quality in the Premier League, yeah, but in terms of pace, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're saying in the J League in terms of how fast players are. Right?
It's physicality is the whole thing. Premier League is known to be the most physically demanding league in the world. Yeah, physically, but pace is part of physicality as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about when I think about physicality, I'm thinking about like brute strength and stuff like that, which you've got to, that's definitely a case to be said for
but
that.
You need power to run away from someone as well.
Yeah, that's fine. But in terms of catching up with someone, you don't need power to catch up with someone. You need pace to catch up with someone. And, who's to say that the strikers in the J League don't have that sheer pace? You know what I mean?
But it could be different in the Premier League.
In terms of physicality and strength, yeah, I agree. But in pace, I don't know.
I think pace comes into it as well. I think it's known as the fastest league in the world as well, the Premier League. So look, there's a question mark I have about that. Obviously, I'm not saying he's slow. He doesn't look slow at all. But will there be a pace issue when it comes to playing into the fastest attackers out, in the Premier League? That will obviously be a question mark. We only know really when we see him. But this guy definitely looks like he's got the whole package. He definitely does. But he has the whole package in the J League. That's all we can say because that's all he's played in. You know what I mean? How else can we judge it? Obviously, he's played some international games, only 4. Okay, so maybe we're getting him at a really good time where he's about to really show what he's worth. But I mean, how many times have we? I'm sure every time we scout a player, I'm sure we what do you call it? Every time we scout a player, I'm sure they all look great in their own leagues, and then it's all about proving it in this league. So it's hard to get too excited about it, if you know what I mean.
It's a massive step up. It's a massive step up, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a seamless transition where he comes in straight away. First game, he looks like an unbelievable centre-back. It's going to take a transition period. Of course it is. But with the attributes that he has, he's giving himself a really good shot in terms of making it, because when you're looking at him at 20 years of age, yes, we're comparing him to J-League players and players in the Japanese league. And by the way, the Japanese league is not exactly the poorest league in the world. It's one of the best leagues in that part of the world, as Ange Postecoglou like to keep telling us. So when you're comparing him to players in that league, he looks very dominant in terms of his physicality. Yes, comparing him to players in that league and comparing him to players, it's a different ball game completely. But he's definitely, got a good start behind him. And if he can come here, bulk up a bit more, and keep going and keep building his strength, I think he can make it here. Yeah,
he has to be given time to develop. He needs to get the game time, and I'm hoping he can. I'm sure a lot of players who we've signed, we've also had the same hope. I'm not saying he's in that category. Maybe he's better than all of them. I'm sure he's a top talent. There's a lot to be excited about him. For sure, a lot to be excited about him. But all I would say is, all these people saying, look at this, look at that, look how good he is, right? You just have to temper your expectations straight away, because it's going to be a massive difference and it's going to take a lot of adjusting to. But yeah, I'm confident he can. There's a few. Also, one thing I really like about what I've seen is he definitely likes to use both feet when he's dribbling his way out of trouble, and he definitely has a lot of composure when he's on the ball. And for someone of his age, that's very, very impressive. And there are moves I look at him when he gets to the ball, he's under pressure, and he moves it from one foot to the other foot and just gets his way out of trouble. I like that a lot. That's something that he's clearly got, because a lot of defenders aren't confident enough to do that kind of stuff.
Agreed. I would say as well, his sliding tackles just seem to be on point. He's really got that down to a T, and obviously that goes down to massively in terms of timing. But when the game is a lot more faster paced, like in the Premier League, I think that might take a bit of an initial adjustment period, and he might get a few wrong early doors, and it might put us in a bit of trouble. But once he gets up to speed with the pace of the game in England, that could also be a really valuable asset for us.
Do you think this is part of the succession planning past Romero, do you think? Not necessarily for him to leave this summer, but long term?
I hope not. And look, there needs to be some sort of succession planning, but if you're going to sell a World Cup winner, leader in the squad, to bring in a 20-year-old Japanese player that no one really heard of last week, however good he can be in the future, I would say that's a really bad move, to be honest. If we're going to sell Romero, we need to bring in another big centre-back.
But I'm not saying this summer. Let's say next he has a year development and he's looking like the next best thing. Then all of a sudden with Romero, it's not like you can sell him and then you've got him to step in rather than having to look for someone, I guess maybe is the feeling behind it.
Depends how quickly he can get to that level, because whatever level Romero's at right now, you'd probably say Kota Takai, it seems unfeasible to see him get to that level the next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'd find it hard, but it'd be very impressive if he can do that. There's some kind of graphs and stats we've got to show you as well. This is his heat map for Kawasaki this season, and as you can see how he by the way, they're an 8th place team in Japan, so not one of the top teams, but look how confident he is in terms of look how much time he spends and how many touches he has in the opposition half. Even the centre circle, very kind of
Romero-esque.
Yeah, he's clearly very comfortable having the ball higher up the pitch in the centre circle, making those full passes. He's kind of has a lot of coverage in his own half as well. Look quite a bit to the left, but obviously mostly to the right. A lot of time, even spent he kind of in fullback areas, you can see, kind of near in the right back areas, a lot of time spent there as well. But I think, yeah, you can see that's kind of obviously clearly likes to pick up the ball probably from the goalkeeper a lot because he spends quite a bit of time in the penalty box. But yeah, I think clearly very comfortable on the ball. I think he has one of the most touches for a centre back in the J League, and you can see how comfortable he is in the forward positions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, back to the conversation that we were talking about before. I mean, Johan Lang with these kind of young players, like, just take Lucas Bergvall for example. He came in straight from the Swedish league, and now he's like a constant fixture in our team, one of the first names of our team sheet.
Absolutely.
Second half of the season, and some would say the J League's got more quality than the Swedish league. So everyone that's kind of laughing this signing out the door, just look back at Lucas Bergvall and the talent ID we had with him. So just because he's a young player coming from an unknown league doesn't mean automatically he won't be able to play in the Premier League next season.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, but let's look at the next bunch of stats that we have.
Yeah, so this is kind of how he compares against like the centre backs in the J League last season. This is actually in the Champions League, actually in the what do you call it, the AFC Asian Champions League? Is that what it's called? So actually, they had a pretty good record in that competition. Only 8. This is in 9 games, 8 goals conceded, 4 clean sheets. He played every game. Really good, like, number of interceptions, which is for a centre back quite impressive because usually they have a lot more people protecting them, and it's a bit of a risk if they come and try and intercept a ball. You have to try and get it because obviously you're going to be left behind before.
That goes on to what you were saying about stepping in front of your attacker.
Yeah, exactly. Ground duels won. What's quite interesting is the number of ground duels is low, but ground duels won is high. So he's very effective with his when he goes in for a ground duel, he ends up winning it usually. Aerial duels won, clearly aerially dominant in that league. Dribble past is not the best, which means I think this is so his total. So per 90 is. So it's only kind of once every other game, but it's above average, but it's not the best. Obviously, clearances, you can see he's got unbelievable timing for clearances. You can see that in a lot of his clips, like the way he reads the flight of the cross and the way he reads where the pass is going to go. Shots block is good. No penalties given away, which is obviously really good. So like really encouraging numbers there from him in the Champions League.
Never given away a penalty.
Not in the Champions League.
Not in the Champions League.
League.
Yeah, I feel like that might change in the Premier League because when you see how aggressive he is and how he likes to slide in, you probably suspect, like I said before, it will take a bit of an adjustment period early on in terms of coming to a much faster paced league. Yeah,
exactly. So I think, we'll see how those stats kind of translate to the Premier League. Obviously, these are how he compares to other centre backs in the Europe, are kind of just for his pure numbers. Obviously, again, this is the J League, but again, gets a lot of touches on the ball, does score quite a few goals, but defend aerial duels as well, really good numbers, and that's for a 20-year-old. Obviously, we also have another aerial monster in Vuskovic, who's a bit younger, but obviously he's doing it in the Belgian league. But once they're both fit and ready to play Premier League together, well, I don't think we're ever going to concede a goal from a corner again. I'm hoping that'll be good.
In 5 years' time, and let's hope maybe a bit longer. When Van der Ven moves on, you got a back to a Vuskovic and Kota Takai, the future of centre backs in European football.
And then you got Phillips, Dragoshin, Dan. So it's mad the talent we have at centre back now with this guy coming in. We have probably the envy of a lot of teams in Europe in the Premier League.
Let's hope it translates onto the pitch in terms of goals conceded.
Yeah, let's hope so. So that's quite interesting. I think, is there another graph we have? No, maybe. Oh yeah, so this is from Stats Bomb. So this is against. I think this is against. What is it against? Other J League defenders. So you can see here. This is quite interesting. There's a stat called defensive action on the ball value, which means how often a defensive action gets you into an attacking position or like towards goal, like in a dangerous way. Not necessarily a chance, but it like gets you towards goal a bit more. That's like on the ball value, and he's quite high for that, which means a lot of his kind of defensive actions a lot of the time lead to dangerous situations. Obviously his It says here the block shots, that which is really high. Aerial ability is really good. Passing. This is quite interesting. Being pressured, change in pass percentage, which means how often he changes his pass when being pressured, is quite decent as well. I'm trying to work out what exactly that means, but means how often he's forced to change what he's going to do because he's being pressured, and I guess it's not as often as other players. So that's pretty good. And obviously you can see the percentiles on the right hand side there. Aerial percentage, really good. On the ball value is really positive. But the big ones are defensive actions, block shots, dribble past, tackles or dribble pass percentage. So that's suggesting is actually quite good compared to the other one, which suggesting wasn't that good. Because this is against in the league compared to the Champions League. And defensive action on the ball value really good. So he's clearly got really good eye for a pass when it comes to passing the ball forward. I think he was first for passing into the final third in the J League as well. So that's also really good. And one more graph. This was from Data MB again, and this is against I think centre backs in the other 5 leagues. As you see, forward pass percentage, progressive passes, dual percentage, defensive actions, aerials, and passes. All superb. Ball carrying, maybe not as much, clearly, so he doesn't tend to want to bring the ball forward himself. He seems to want to pass his way out of trouble. But yeah, other than that, really strong showing in the stats.
And Frank will like that, passing his way out of trouble, playing out from the back. A lot of time, we have heart attacks when we're trying to play out of the back, and hopefully he can progress that even more. But that is what you need to know about Kota Takai. We're going to try and bring on a fan that knows a lot more about him, that seems to watch him week in, week out, and we can delve even deeper into our new signings. So all we're waiting for now is the statement from Spurs and to see him holding up that Spurs shirt. Surely it's going to come any minute now, today or tomorrow.
Yep, we'll have to wait. It could be very, very soon. Any moment it's going to happen.
I like the way these transfers just come out of nowhere. It's kind of like a throwback.
Yeah, again, Lang working in the shadows.
Yeah, but it really is like a throwback. Like when we only just saw it. I know you're not sitting on the website with holding up the shirt, but there's no like rumors building up to it, and then
I hadn't heard of this guy.
Like this is going on for weeks. Like this one was just bang straight out the blue. This guy signed. Here we go. Bing, bang, bomb.
Agreed. And I think Odebel was the last one we had it like this. I like it as well. It's much better than the Romano. We know every little stage of the deal. I can't stand it. I much prefer this kind of we only hear of one thing, because it adds excitement to the window again, which I think has been lost quite a bit.
Yeah, agreed. So that is that with Kota Takai. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding the signing. Let's get into a couple of super chats before we get into the last segment of the stream. First up is DJ Samuel, member for 34 months, says Yid Army. Big up to you,
Big up DJ Samuel.
George Hughes says, thanks for keeping us up to date with the news, guys. Come on, you Spurs.
Big up, George.
Legend.
You're welcome. You're very welcome, George.
Chop Cheese says, sell Son, get Eze for a left winger and a backup cam to Madders. We can sell Kulu and upgrade right wing. Kulu is not a top right winger and not better than Eze or Madders. Or you can see Kulu, or can you see Kulu as a right winger?
I think I could see Kulu as right winger in a Brentford system, in Frank's system. Sorry, not Brentford system. I think I could. I think Frank will know how to use him, and also obviously he can maybe play some games as an 8, even a 10. He's so versatile. I think he's definitely worth keeping around. Now, look, people forget. I know he didn't have a great second half of the season, but he was so good first half. Like, I think he's a quality player. I wouldn't want to sell him. I really wouldn't.
Next super chat is from Sim's #1 fan, Crazy Rat.
Come on, Crazy Rat.
No
Big
poem
up.
Today. No glazing today. Just says hello.
Hello, Crazy. Hello back to you.
What's going on with that super chat? Thank you for the super chat, but expected a bit more from you, Crazy Rat.
Yeah,
Come
just
on.
hello. Disappointed.
George Orton with the super chat. Big up to you. Says, big up, boys. Keeping me entertained in hospital.
Oh, sorry to hear that, George. Hope you're doing okay. Wish you a speedy recovery.
Sending you our best wishes. Not sure why you're in hospital, but let's hope everything is okay with you, my friend. And last super chat is from Diasuke Anabi. You think maybe Takai's cheap signing makes Levy more comfortable with dropping big money on Eze?
I'm hoping that's how it works,
Yeah.
but it's not always how it works.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably, but probably not.
Yeah, probably
Who
not.
knows, mate? Who knows with the mind of Daniel Levy? But last but not least, we're going to get into a react. So we're going to see how the internet did react to our Kota Takai signing. And first up is Pro Tottenham. And it says, just because you hadn't heard of Kota Takai, it doesn't mean he can't be a good player. There are so many players over us over the years who you hadn't heard of before we signed them, who went on to be brilliant for us. Players who you were like, who the hell is that? Modric, Berbatov, Dele, Son, just to name a few. Be positive. Done a bit of research, and from what I can see, this kid looks the real deal. I think he's an exciting signing. Yeah, I mean, look, he's right to a certain extent. I'd add Bergvall into that. I mean, players like Modric and Son, I mean, we had heard of them before.
Berbatov was a striker for Leverkusen. He wasn't
exactly.
a no one, yeah.
Striker for Leverkusen, 100%.
Dele, I didn't really know who Dele was
No,
before.
no one knew who Dele was, but I think Bergvall is the right example for it. But however many went right, there are probably a hell of a lot more that went wrong. That's the truth.
Rodrigo Defendi.
Oh, Rodrigo Defendi.
Soliman Koulibaly. Oh, didn't you see that hat-trick in the under 17s World Cup final from Koulibaly? Mate. This guy's the real deal.
There are so many, man. So many. Kubo. Mabuelo, Mabizela.
I had so much hope for all these guys. Jamie Slabber. Well, we didn't sign him, was from our academy. But still, there's so many young players who were all thinking this guy, and they just never really. Who was that striker? There was this Irish striker who everyone was convinced that was going to be like unbelievable.
Terry Dixon?
Yeah, I think it was Terry Dixon. And he went to West Ham, did nothing. He just turned out to be nothing.
Yeah.
So you can never be too sure, but from the evidence, the scouting part have done their job, and it suggests this guy could be a real asset for us. And it's also 5 million, so the risk is fairly low. But I guess the only point I would make is we have so much talent in that position. Like, do we need another just talented player, or do we need a player who we believe is going to be valuable straight away? We're convinced. Maybe we are convinced, but I have to see it to believe it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. It's a risky signing because he is taking up a spot in the squad. And we all know that we're very low on these squad numbers, but this guy will be taking up one of those spots if he is in the European, if he is named in the European squad. So it's a risk in that case. But you got to, we've gone down the data-led recruitment and everything like that. So you got to trust that it's going to come through for us, because it has come through for us since Langer has come to the club. Next up, we're going to look at Matt Hayes' tweet going through the ages of a lot of the Spurs squad, and bloody hell, it's young. I'll go from the bottom. The older players: Van der Ven, Spence, Johnson, all 24.
Old timers.
Yeah, it's mad to see Spence is 24 years.
Yeah, he's
old.
one of the senior players in the squad now.
Dragoshin 23, Kinski 22, Sarr Adogi 22, Tel Odebear Takai 20, Phillips, Yang, Bergvall, Gray, Vuskovic. And Gray 19, Vuskovic 18, and Moore 17.
The future is very exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to be a big future ahead of us, I think, with all these players. Hopefully, obviously not all of them are going to be here for forever, but also it means even if a lot of them don't necessarily work out, you probably get decent fees given their age. And I think this is kind of what they've been building. Even, I know, ever since pretty much Ange came in, and even before that a bit, but obviously since Ange came in.
Well, I think they've been building this since Paratici has come in, really.
Since Fabio.
The Pape Mata Sarr deal.
Sarr deal and the Doggy deal. He did.
Even Brian Hill, to a certain extent, didn't work out, but that's what they're trying to do.
I'm trying to think how many of these were under Fabio.
I'm saying that's when it started. It carried on after Fabio.
Yeah, but we kind of really accelerated it. We signed in multiple.
Sure. But under Fabio, out of these, it's pretty much
Sarr Doggy, no?
Spence, Sarr Doggy. Yeah, was Phillips Fabio?
Well, Ange signed him.
Did Ange sign Phillips? Wasn't he signed before Ange?
No, it was last summer.
Is that really? Was it last summer? You sure it wasn't the summer before?
Yeah, it was last summer because then he went to Plymouth and Stoke.
Oh, you're talking about that's Angie's first.
Sorry, 2 summers ago.
Yeah.
Angie's first summer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but there's so much talent here. It's going to be very exciting to see in a few years' time. But then again, that's the problem. Always a few years' time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
How many players do you actually have older than Van de Ven? You got Madison. Oh, you got like Decky.
Madison, Son, Davis.
Running out. Vicario. Not that many.
Yeah.
Romero. Slanky. All right.
Richarlison.
Rishi.
Deli Sonny's says Kota Takai's one earring is a very cool look. Also, he's good at football. Hell yeah.
So first of all, talk about the earring, then yeah, he's good at football. That's what we're excited about. Excited about the one earring. That hairbrush is going to be iconic.
Yeah.
We're going to have a load of like fans, like Son fans, where they just monitor every little thing he does.
Probably, yeah. Next up, this is talking about Tell and the exploits he's on in the under-21
look at that.
European Championship. Look at that finish in training from Matisse Tell. Matisse Tell is about to explode at Tottenham Hotspur, people.
Look at that finishing. Look at that finishing,
got the memo about Matisse Tell?
You could get that quality for just a little price of 29 million. Look at that. He's going to be doing that a few times this season, I'm telling you.
And if you go to the attached tweet below that, this was his winner for France under 21s against Denmark.
Not just in training, he can do it. Actually did it, pulled it off in a game. And this was a winner at a crucial moment as well. Inside the last 10 minutes, 2-2. And he bends it into the far corner, Sonny-esque. Honestly, I think, unfortunately, with last season, maybe due to how Ange was playing him, he wasn't able to show off this kind of ability. But we've seen him do this for Bayern a few times. That just finessed finish into the far corner. He's got it in his locker.
We saw him flirt with it a few times under Ange. Some really good efforts.
I think Frank's going to get him in positions. He's going to be doing it a lot more. I really believe that.
I agree. Sam89 THFC says it's 5 mil by all accounts for a talented young player. It's not like we spunked our transfer funds up the wall on Dross. I mean, yes, it is 5 million on the talent, but it's also someone that you need to be sure of because they're going to be taking up a spot in the squad.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. It's not necessarily the price. It's just we are just limited with squad space at the moment. So we just got to hope he's ready to play now because he's going to have to be because he will play.
Carl Simpson says, yes, I remember people saying the same about Bergbout and Sarr. Like, what's the point, etc. That turned out all right.
Yeah, it's another way of looking at it. And I think the signing does make a lot of sense when it comes to just purely talent-wise and price-wise. If those are the only two factors, I think I can understand the deal being made. But when it comes to us and football in general, those aren't the only two factors.
Benny Spurs says, one for the future, can't knock this signing in isolation. But if we fail to improve our starting 11, this is another failed window. Kota probably goes out on loan. We have 4 centre-backs in Kuti, Van de Ven, Danso and Drag, with Williams, Vuk and Kota as youth.
I'm assuming he means Phillips.
Yeah, he must mean Phillips. The signing doesn't improve us for 3 years. I mean, I think it's a bit harsh to say it doesn't improve us for 3 years because that's just complete unknown. Complete unknown. But
I mean, there's a good chance it might not. But
but I mean,
you don't know.
Let's say he comes in and takes a bit of development time, and we start seeing his true worth, like second half of the season, early part of next season. That's a great replacement for someone like Ben Davis.
Agreed. Yeah, and then it'll be one of the signings, best bargains ever.
Yeah. The only thing that he can't bring that Davis has been bringing is, experience. And, whatever you want to say about Ben, people call him Gentle Ben and all this kind of stuff. He's definitely a player that has some sort of leadership ability behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He's just been here for so long. Next up is John Guy Edwards saying, I'm not disappointed with signing, but I'm getting a bit more concerned from our homegrown quarter. And for the love of everything, can we just get Eze signed and through the door already? I mean, that I wholeheartedly agree with you. Just get him signed, sealed, and delivered. In terms of the homegrown stuff, I definitely sympathise with that point, but I just don't see why people are saying, why did you sign him? We need homegrown players. I mean, we need homegrown players
Anyway,
on top of him. You know what I mean?
He doesn't make a difference. But the only thing is he adds a number to the squad. And if one of the centre backs ain't leaving, when we were doing that calculation before, that kind of means there might not be room for either a forward player or even that midfield player we're looking for.
This tells you as well, with signing Kota, surely this means that if Ben Davies stays, he's not going to be part of the European squad next season. Surely.
Or Kota won't be one of them, yeah. That's the thing. But even in the calculations we did, we said that either Davies was leaving or being left out, and we still need to sell a certain amount of players. So it does complicate things further. It just at the moment, it means either someone else unexpected has to go, or we might not be getting another midfielder, or we might not be getting 2 forward players. Yeah. It's just a bit of or it means that Romero's leaving.
Yeah. Whatever happens, there's a lot of moving parts still to come in this transfer window, that's for sure. We put out a poll yesterday saying, with Spurs set to sign Japanese centre-back Kota Takai for $5 million, what are your thoughts? Are you happy with the deal? 47% says yes, 12.3% says no, and 40.7% saying unsure.
A lot of unsures.
Yeah, which is expected, really. Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, I guess. But yeah, a lot of people undecided whether they're happy with it or not. No one's unhappy. With $5 million, it's, the deal just makes a lot of sense. Yeah. 47% say they are happy though.
These are Kota Takai's stats against J1 League defenders that are under 23 per 90. So as you can see, tops the charts in everything. Interceptions, possession one, pass completion, forward passes completed, long pass accuracy, pass completion to the final third, goals and headed goals. It's also worth noting, apparently there's only 9 centre-backs in the J-League under 23.
So... it's not a terrible
still the best one out of the lot.
The best one, still first, but yeah, it's only 9.
This one is from ONTHFC saying, Kota Takai, 20, Japanese senior international. Luka Vuskovic, 18, Croatia senior international. Ashley Phillips, 19, England under 20 international. Experience is needed, but also unfair to write off players just because they're young. 2 full senior internationals for countries who are at World Cup regulars, and the England youth international who has already made over 50 championship appearances as a teenager. Most English defenders are yet to even make their championship debut at Phillips' age, let alone 51. 3 very talented kids. Their international status proves that. Go easy on them, Takai especially.
Yeah, and I think all 3 of them, I think everyone's excited about all 3 of them, to be honest. I think all 3 of them have got really bright futures. I'm so excited about getting them into the team and having them integrated into the squad and having 3 players we've built up ourselves in that sense. But it will take time. And, we're Tottenham fans. And look, hopefully now we won that trophy, there'll be a bit more patience. But still, we're notoriously impatient, I think.
Ted Knutson says, Kota Takai, Kawasaki Frontale 2025, centre-back 2.0 template, 1.92 metres tall. Great age profile. Japan is now fairly consistent in producing amazing technical footballers across their men and women's. A very worthwhile gamble for Spurs. And look, the Japanese game and the Japanese team have been going just from strength to strength, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. They were very impressive in the World Cup, I remember. They got a lot of good, talented players, and they're bringing through a lot of talented players, the Japanese national team. So he's probably next in line.
Yeah. Who have we got next? So Sim spotted this on the Premier League website this morning, saying Kota Takai has been added to the Premier League website before being officially unveiled as a Spurs player.
I think, have they been told something? Have they been told, get ready to post this because he's about to join the club? Do they know something where we don't? We obviously know the deal's very close. Even if you click into that link, you click into that post, you go to the first reply, that one. So they've even done his profile as well. So it's like Japan, that's
Tottenham.
His age, his height. It's the same. It's obviously him. They haven't put Tottenham yet.
Kota Takai's can they be?
Yeah, true. So they've added him to the website. I'm sure they're just waiting for confirmation to add the club, maybe. I don't know. But clearly they're getting ready for an announcement, I think. It tells me they're getting ready for an announcement.
And as soon as Spurs do those media duties, they can add his picture there as well. This next one is a compilation of all his brilliant sliding tackles. I was watching this yesterday, and he does like to dive in a lot, doesn't he?
It's a compilation of I think just all his highlights. I think, but yeah, this guy has a really good timing of tackle. He seems like a big unit, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But this part, I think there's you can see his passing range. Such a confident passer, I think.
Yeah, and his twists and turns as well, just so confident on the ball.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive. I do should go and check out all the comps to see what he's about. But he looks like a real talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at that pass. Lovely switch of play, right into feet. Doesn't have to break stride. Good switch of play. Someone said he's got a Toby Alderweireld-esque passing, I read. And maybe he does at 20 years old.
So we're going to see a remontada of the Toby Ping.
I think so. It's going to be he's going to be putting it over the top to Maddison.
Toby to Maddison, Toby to Tell. Who knows, mate? But yeah. Go watch the rest of that compilation on SZY Comps.
Yeah, SZY Comps has been unbelievable comps over the summer. Well, what an account. No
Context Tottenham. Is this him just like doing a little dance?
Seems to be a school dance. I don't know if I don't know, doing some sort of show. I don't know what he's doing here, but he is doing a dance with a bunch of kids. So this is our new centre back, everyone. Watch him in all his glory. Is he practicing his celebration? I don't know.
Spurs Express is from Ali Gold saying Kota Takai was identified by Spurs technical director Johan Lange and his staff as being able to step into the Premier League following in the footsteps of other young signings in recent years, such as Bergvall, Sarr, Adogi, with the signing also being given the green light by Frank, which is the main thing.
Yeah, 100%. And as you say, to be fair, these when we've made these signings recently, they've all been really good deals. Yeah. So let's hope this is the next one in line.
Yeah. So that is all we have for you today, guys. That is how the internet did react to the signing of Kota Takai. Like I mentioned, all we're waiting for is to see him lifting up that Spurs shirt from a statement from the club. And we had another super chat here from Crazy Rat. Last one was hello. This one says goodbye.
Goodbye. What a way to end the show. Goodbye, Crazy.
And on that note...
Oh, he just sent another one.
Did he? Let's have a look. Is it a nice little poem for you?
I think so. He says...
Said goodbye, but Sim's too great. Couldn't stay away. Sealed my fate. Back to streaming. Can't resist. This fun with you, I can't dismiss.
Big up to Crazy Rat. Big up to you. Thank you for that lovely poem to end the show.
Lovely. So I think we'll leave it there, guys. But let us know your thoughts on Kota Takai in the comment section below. Let us know as well, do you think we will end up signing Eze this summer? And do you want him at the club? I am dying for Eze. I'm dying to see that Eze lifting up that Spurs shirt. And I've just felt like it's just written in the stars. Every time he comes and plays at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, there's just something about it that just feels right, doesn't it?
Last time he looked like a player presentation, I remember. Let's hope we'll be seeing one.
Yeah, and he was signing some autographs, and someone said, sign for Tottenham, and he just looked up at him, gave him a little smile, and then looked down and carried on signing his autograph. So I do feel like something has been brewing up with this for a couple of years now. So let us know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.